Alright, what's up, other guys? Brian here, D3 Topics Gamer, and I have a little kind of, I guess, little discussion video or kind of a show-off video I want to share with you guys today. Now, yesterday, or like I'd say like 2 days ago, I actually got back from my trip to Comic-Con Revolution that was in California. I actually did as part of like a two-part vacation plan from going to Universal Studios and coming back to Vegas, then driving right back to California to go to this my very first Comic-Con. And I just thought it would be nice if I just did a quick review, just kind of going over like my overall experience with the trip and what it was like going to my first Comic-Con, as well as a number of things that I picked up. Because out of any convention I've ever been to, this one I definitely ended up picking up the most amount of stuff, and I think that's a major plus for me. So do hope you enjoyed this video by the end. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep tracking me on future videos. Sorry. And if you ever have any ideas for future request videos or rankings or reviews, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to get them up as soon as I can whenever I find time. Because the month of May has just been really crazy with a bunch of different things happening all at once, and me just trying to find and balance time between all of them. So, starting off with the drive. I would say that the drive into California for the second time was all right. I went to Universal Studios with a friend of mine. This drive wasn't quite as bad. It took me like 3.5 hours to get from Vegas to where I needed to go. I will say this. The one worst part of this entire trip was the first day, and it was the parking. Now, I had underestimated just how big this convention was going to be, because I just figured that if it's not San Diego Comic-Con, then they're usually pretty small and not all that busy. That was not the case with this Comic-Con. It was packed, parking was completely filled, and what's worse was that the motel that I was staying at, which was really right next door to the convention center, within like literally 3 minutes of walking distance, I couldn't check in till like 3 o'clock, and I got there at noon. So for like 2 hours, I had to just kind of hang around. I ended up parking at this one location that was like a mile and like half a mile away, and I actually had to walk in the burning heat in order to get inside the convention center, in order to get my badge. And then like even after like being inside for like an hour, I was still sweating like crazy. But once I got into the convention center, it was actually pretty cool. It was structured very similarly to most conventions that I've been to. It was just a little more packed, a little bit more people, and there was a lot more space. There was like two different areas. There's like one area that would seem very familiar to anyone that's actually been to standard conventions, and then there was like another like kind of artist section that was in like another like big room. I didn't really spend too much time in the second room, but I did spend a lot of time in the first room, and they just had a lot of different things. They had comic books, they had figures, they had just all kind of thing. Anything you could ask for, they probably had it. They probably had a version of it. They were doing plenty of fan meetings, a number of like just taking pictures of people that you might know. I didn't actually get to do that because that wasn't like my primary focus. My primary focus was just to kind of meet up with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in several years, and it was nice getting to hang out with her and talk to her for a little bit and just see how she was doing it, pick up a few of her pieces of merchandise and just talk to her for day one and day two. And the first day, I just bought a few things, and then my friend gave me like a few free items just to say thanks for coming by to see her, and that was pretty much everything for the first day. The second day was much better. I got in relatively early. The place opened up at like 10. It was going to close at 5. There was some overcast, and so it wasn't quite as hot, so I wasn't sweating like really at all when I got in. But right outside the convention center, they had like these different style of famous identifiable cars, like that you would recognize from film. So I thought that was pretty cool. But then when I got in, I just kind of just walked around a little bit, saw some pretty impressive looking cosplays. Some of the main stations that were there that didn't really change at all, but I just wanted to double check to see if there was anything there that I might end up liking. And there actually were some new things that I didn't see the first time when I was there that I picked up, and that was pretty much my whole trip. Now, would I go to another convention like this? I probably wouldn't go. I probably, unless it was like a purely gaming convention, like an old school style like version of like E3 or what PlayStation Experience was, or maybe a Future PAX. I probably wouldn't drive and leave out of state to go to one of these conventions. Now, if there's a convention like this that's local here in Vegas, then I certainly wouldn't mind stopping by. But I probably won't go out of state in order to go to one of these conventions. I think doing this once was good enough for me to kind of get the overall experience. Now, the fun part, to show you guys what I picked up. I picked up quite a lot of figures. The first two things that I got that my friend Rachel gave me was, she knows how much of a massive PlayStation fanboy I am. So she actually gave me 2 little plushes of Aloy and Sockboy from Little Big Planet. I'm definitely going to hang these around my area because I'm still in the process of moving. I actually finished the last of my moving, so now I just got to start organizing everything. And she also gave me a figure of Bellatrix. Now, this is a weird sort of Funko Pop style. I've never actually seen a style like this before. So that was new, but yeah, she gave me like a Bellatrix Strange figure. There were a number of old school style games that they had, and one game that I saw that I knew I had to pick up when I saw it is one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh games. I think is very underrated and not a lot of people talk about it. I was actually able to find a copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. I already have Capsule Monsters, and I'd been trying to get a copy of this, and I got one, and I was able to hook it up with a little converter that I had from my HDMI cable to my PlayStation 2. I was able to play it again, and my skills were just as fresh as they'd ever been. It'd been like I hadn't stopped playing. Unfortunately, my data, I apparently may have deleted my data like maybe 10 or 12 years ago, maybe, perhaps even longer. So I had to start like a brand new game, but that inspired me that I might consider starting a brand new channel just focusing purely on Yu-Gi-Oh content of me just either playing like a lot of Master Duels or going back and playing like older style Yu-Gi-Oh games, or just, you know, going over just how I think certain decks should be built or how I prefer to play the game. I'm seriously considering that because this is definitely something I want to stream. And I think I have the capability of doing that. So if that's something you guys think would be a cool idea, that way I'm always constantly uploading content. I can kind of then focus my attention between the 3TG channel and a Yu-Gi-Oh focused channel. That way I'm always putting out content and just always keeping myself busy. I think that would be a really great thing for me to, just so I don't enter these like creative blocks. I also picked up a number of figures. Now, some people don't know this, but about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I actually won a Vegeta figure that I showed off on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook that I thought was really cool. It was like in a claw machine, so I had a Vegeta figure. So I thought that I need to find a Goku figure to go with it, and I did just that. That's what he looks like. And I thought it was cool because they're both firing blasts, and it doesn't look like these two would be from the Saiyan Saga just from how they're dressed. I mean, I guess this version of Goku could be really from any era. But I just thought they're gonna be able to like point towards each other with their blasts, and I thought that was cool. Now, since I had a Goku figure and a Vegeta figure, I figured, you know what? While we're here, let's see if we can get a fusion figure. And I actually did go out and pick up a Vegito because I'm a bigger fan of Vegito than Gogeta. This figure is actually pretty tall. I think it's like 12 inches, so it's pretty big. So when I find a good place to place all three of these figures, I'll definitely have like Goku on one side, Vegeta on the other, and Vegeta in the middle. I think that's going to be great to look at, and I would certainly be able to show that off. Another thing, on the second day, I don't know what went on with me, but I went Vader crazy for some reason. So I bought like a lot of Vader merchandise. Like I picked up like a Vader hat that I took a picture of. I bought this Vader comic book that I had my friend Rachel sign, so that made it just a little bit more extra special. And there's this guy who was giving out these old school style shirts. I picked up this Star Wars one that says Vader, best dad ever, because obviously, you know, he had a pretty interesting relationship with his kids. And then I also picked up this one. Now, these are actually shirts I've seen before, but I hadn't seen these in years. And so I guess whoever this collector was collecting all these much older shirts and just selling them at a bargain. He was like selling for like three for $10. And then there's this Vader shirt. And then I found this one shirt, which was weird. It was a Dark Knight shirt that I remember seeing this when I was in college. There was an element of it I wasn't aware of at the time, but is a little weird now. But it actually is basically just the front chest of Christopher Nolan's Batman from Dark Knight. But the weirdest element that I probably didn't remember that it had was that this thing comes with a cape. Weird. It's a shirt that comes with a cape, and you can take it off if you want, but then you have these little sticky things on the back. Yeah, I think I'll definitely be wearing this a lot more whenever I talk about Batman, but it's going to be weird because you have these little things on the back. So, yeah, a shirt that comes with a cape. That is a first. And I think that's about it. I know I picked up like 4 different prints from Rachel and took some pictures of a few other things, and I definitely got some footage of a bunch of things while I was there. But yeah, this was definitely the most I spent. My budget was definitely well over $200, and I also picked up a Vader hat, which I misplaced it somewhere here, but I know it's around here somewhere. So I definitely got a lot of stuff. So that's pretty much just a quick breakdown of my experience at my very first Comic-Con Revolution, as well as things I saw and things I did and things I picked up. I'm pretty sure not most of you probably went to Comic-Con Revolution, but if you have been to one of these comic book conventions, what has been like the best thing that you have picked up fear wise or just item wise? Let me know in the comments down below. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you all guys next time.